Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a fascinating biological mystery. Why do so many older adults wake up exactly at 3 a.m.? We're going to unpack the real science behind this, and more importantly, how you can support a healthier nighttime rhythm. It's something that affects a huge number of us, but honestly, it's rarely explained in a way that actually makes biological sense. So let's fix that.
Have you ever opened your eyes in the pitch black, blindly reached for the clock, and realized it is almost exactly 3 a.m. again? Seriously, if you're over 60, you are definitely not alone here. So many people describe this exact same incredibly frustrating pattern. You know the drill. You fall asleep just fine, only to wake up a few hours later feeling surprisingly wired. Your body is totally exhausted, but your mind, wide awake.
All right, here is our roadmap for today. First, the 3 a.m. phenomenon. Second, why sleep changes. Third, cortisol and melatonin explained. Fourth, hidden nighttime disruptors. Fifth, the 8-step sleep protocol. And finally, number 6, when to seek medical attention.
Okay, moving right into part 1, the 3 a.m. phenomenon. Why your mind is wide awake when your body is tired.
So look, it is incredibly common for adults over 60 to fall asleep without a hitch, but then wake up a few hours later feeling ready to run a marathon. But here's the crucial takeaway. Please don't just blame stress or assume this is some unavoidable misery of getting older. Your body is not broken. As we age, we go through completely natural biological changes that shift how our internal body clock works. Understanding these changes won't magically cure insomnia overnight, but it completely shifts how we handle those frustrating early morning wake-ups.
Part 2, why sleep changes. We're looking at the aging brain and deep sleep. To really understand what's going on, we have to look at your sleep architecture. Now, you probably know sleep isn't just one continuous, solid block of rest, right? Your brain actually moves through several different stages every night. When we're younger, these stages flow together in these long, stable cycles. But as we age, deep sleep, which is that absolutely crucial stage where your body does its overnight cellular repair and immune system maintenance, well, it gradually becomes shorter and lighter. And because this heavy restorative stage decreases, your brain spends way more time in the lighter stages of sleep, which means even minor signals, whether they're inside your body or outside in the room, are much more likely to jolt you awake.
I love this analogy because it brilliantly illustrates what happens to our sleep architecture over time. Imagine replacing a heavy, thick winter blanket with a much thinner one. That thick blanket of our youth, it easily filters out small disturbances. But with the thinner blanket of older sleep, the smallest draft, like a tiny change in room temperature or a distant sound outside, suddenly becomes literally impossible to ignore.
Section 3, Cortisol and Melatonin explained. Let's unpack this hormonal shift.
Let's start with a hormone that honestly gets a really unfair bad rap, cortisol. People always label it as just the stress hormone. And yeah, sure, it is related to stress, but without cortisol, you literally wouldn't wake up feeling alert in the morning. I like to think of cortisol as an internal sunrise happening inside your body. It drops early in the night, and then long before the actual sun comes up outside, your cortisol gradually begins to rise to prep your brain and body for the day. Now remember that thinner blanket of older sleep we just talked about? Because of that, your brain might simply be noticing this entirely normal, natural hormonal rise much earlier in the night. It's not a bad hormone at all. Your body is just a bit more sensitive to it now.
Then, at the total opposite end of the spectrum, we have melatonin. It gets hugely misunderstood as some sort of sleeping pill that just actively knocks you out. But it's actually a biological timekeeper. It signals to your brain, hey, nighttime has arrived. As we age, our natural melatonin production often drops. Think of it like a symphony orchestra trying to perform without a strong conductor. The musicians still know the music, but the timing, it just gets a bit sloppy. The sleep signals become less robust, making it a whole lot harder for your body to follow the rhythm.
On to Section 4, hidden nighttime sleep disruptors. These are the small factors that overlap at exactly the wrong time.
What's truly wild here is how simple, everyday things can completely derail you. Because you have that thinner blanket of sleep now, keeping your bedroom just a couple of degrees too warm can literally stop your body's natural cooling process, and bam, your brain gets the signal to wake up. Same goes for evening blue light from your phone or TV. It completely blurs the line between day and night for your brain. Combine that with a little quiet nervous system stress, maybe some overnight blood sugar fluctuations, or even completely unnoticed side effects from daily medications, and you've got yourself the absolute perfect recipe for a 3 a.m. awakening.
Section 5, the 8-step sleep protocol. Let's look at some practical habits to actually support your circadian rhythm.
Okay, so here is the really encouraging news. We can build a simple routine to work with your aging biology rather than fighting against it. You can't force sleep, right? But you can absolutely give your internal clock much clearer instructions. Step 1. Wake up at the exact same time every single morning, even if you slept terribly. Consistency reinforces your clock. Step 2 is an absolute game changer. Get 10 to 30 minutes of morning daylight. It is literally one of the strongest timing cues your brain can possibly receive to reset itself. Step 3, keep the bedroom cool or maybe take a warm bath an hour or two before bed, which surprisingly helps your core body temperature drop afterward. And Step 4, create a calming wind-down routine. Give your nervous system a chance to shift into a calmer state before your head even hits the pillow.
Keeping that momentum rolling into Step 5. Really watch that late-day caffeine and evening alcohol. Both of those can severely fragment your sleep later in the night. Step 6, get some daytime physical activity to build up your natural sleep drive. Step 7, try to eat a balanced diet with magnesium-rich foods. Think leafy greens and nuts to support normal nerve and muscle function. And Step 8, this might be the most powerful and honestly the most forgiving step of all. If you do wake up at 3 a.m., just don't panic. Getting out of bed to do a dim, quiet activity is so much better than just lying there anxiously watching the clock, trying to force yourself back to sleep.
Section 6. When to seek medical attention. We need to talk about recognizing the red flags.
Now, while changes with aging are totally normal, it is absolutely vital to recognize when your 3 a.m. awakening is actually a warning sign of an underlying medical condition. For instance, if you wake up gasping for air or your partner notices loud snoring, that could point to sleep apnea, which actually interrupts your breathing dozens of times a night. Waking up with a racing heartbeat or feeling short of breath, that can point to cardiovascular issues, and dramatic changes in memory or sudden confusion are major red flags too. If you're experiencing any of these specific symptoms, you absolutely must bring them up with your doctor. Don't just shrug it off and blame your age. Good sleep is a fundamental pillar of good health.
Ultimately, this quote right here just beautifully summarizes everything we've talked about in this explainer. Sleep is not a switch that you flip, it's a rhythm that you support. You just can't bully your brain into sleeping. But by understanding the thinning blanket of your sleep architecture, honoring your internal cortisol sunrise, and setting up a consistent environment, you really can create the perfect conditions for your body to rest naturally.
So, do you tend to wake around the same time every night? I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments below. But I want to leave you with this one thought. If our biology naturally wakes us in the absolute quietest hours of the night as we get older, could it actually be an evolutionary echo of our ancestors keeping watch over the tribe rather than just a modern-day failure to sleep? Kind of makes you think about it differently, doesn't it? Anyway, remember to subscribe for more science-backed explainers. Take really good care of yourself, and we'll see you next time.